Budweiser may have run one of the most successful branding shifts ever made. Let me explain. They made a beer can featuring the face of trans activist Dylan Mulvaney, of course to help celebrate his gender transition. And now it seems that most of the United States associates Budweiser with trans ideology. Now here's a refresher on the Dylan Mulvaney video in case you missed it.
Hi! Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports, and I'm not sure exactly which sport.
Now look, Bud Light and its parent company ANHEUSER-BUSCH are now culturally associated with transsexualism. If two friends are sitting in a bar and one of them orders a Bud Light, it now has a deeper cultural meaning. You know, this friend may in fact have a thing for trans women. But really, this is a big win for Budweiser. Branding campaigns are actually really difficult. You know, when they do succeed, the customers begin associating the product with a clear image of what it represents. You know, case in point, cigarettes. They used to be associated with these rugged cowboys. That was the brand, right? Budweiser used to be associated with the American heartland of, you know, the strength of Clydesdale horses. People related to the brands, and using the product projected that image on you, the customer. Now people consuming Bud Light can have the image of trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Look, of course I'm half joking, folks. Budweiser is actually in really serious trouble. ANHEUSER-BUSCH is in full damage control right now. Their sales are down an estimated 26% compared to last year. They're buying back expired beer from retailers that couldn't or just would not sell the product because customers are boycotting the brand. And they're accusing customers of believing misinformation that triggered the boycott, since they claim that they did not have any official partnership with Mulvaney. They're saying it was just a social media post and that was it. But look, apparently accusing your customers of being gullible is not a winning strategy. Budweiser is trying to change this, though. They're bringing back their patriotic branding. They have beer cans with camouflage print being rolled out, images of the Folds of Honor program, which, you know, by the way, is to help give financial aid to kids and spouses of fallen and disabled members of the U.S. military service. But look, folks, I'll wager right now it's likely not going to work, and let me explain. The reason is simple. The Bud Light support for Dylan Mulvaney, it changed the image of the brand. And by successfully aligning themselves with a cultural movement, the company is now going to have a very, very difficult time to break that image. And look, it doesn't help as well that a video was just unearthed from a Bud Light parent company, well, the Bud Light parent company, ANHEUSER-BUSCH, from 6 months ago. And it's being framed really terribly for them as advocating to purge the company of white people and men. And they're not just diverse enough, apparently, so there's more work that needs to be done. Of course, I'm not sure what that means for employees who can't control, you know, what race or gender they're born as. But maybe ANHEUSER-BUSCH has a plan for that? I don't know. Look, you can be the judge on whether you agree with the framing of this video. Let me show you.
We're still 40% women, 60% men, still predominantly white, so there's still work to be done.
Having a more diverse and inclusive environment will make our company future-proof.
I would like to live in a world where diversity and inclusion is so ingrained in who we are, what we do, that we don't need to have a conversation about it.
Well, you know, ANHEUSER-BUSCH certainly does have plenty of work to be done. I don't think they're future-proof just yet, though. Look, the reality is that Budweiser planted itself right in the middle of a big culture war. And it looks like the company hedged its bets on the wrong side, at least, you know, with its customer base. But this is a broader trend, really. Is the death sentence for companies to get behind woke trans policies, you know, is that what it is? You'd think the national Bud Light boycott would send a message to other companies. But it appears they're also hedging their bets that the Bud Light controversy is just a big fluke, and it's not working out for them. Target decided to roll out a new gay pride clothing line. It now has products like female bathing suits designed with the accommodation of tucking the male genitalia, and a kid's swim skirt that is designed to, quote, thoughtfully fit on multiple body types and gender expressions. And Target has run into controversy even deeper than this, not just, from associating itself with the trans movement, but for associating itself with a trans designer who openly promotes Satanism. And I'm not even joking. Like, they have a sweatshirt, for example, with the slogan, "Cure Transphobia" on it. And this is Target partnering with the UK-based designer Eb Pralin. Now, look, it looks like the product was already taken off the company's website. In fact, just today, it was on this morning. It's gone now. The link directs now to a product not available page. But let me show you what they took down. Here's the archive of what was shown on that same link just this morning to show you the sweatshirt they had there. Now, critics of Target's decision were quick to point out some of the other products that this guy actually has on the Instagram page. It includes pins like one of this pink demonic goat with the trans symbol on its forehead and the slogan, "Satan respects pronouns" on it. And look at this. The accompanying post next to it says this: "Satan loves you and respects who you are. You are important and valuable in this world and you deserve to treat yourself with love and respect. LGBT plus people are so often referred to as being a product of Satan or going against God's will, so fine, we'll hang out with Satan instead." Now look, none of this seems to matter to Target. Their CEO, Brian Cornell, was asked about the backlash to woke capitalism on Fortune's Leadership Next podcast, last week, and he responded with this. He said, quote, "I think those are just good business decisions, and it's the right thing for society, and it's the great thing for our brand." Well, look, they took the shirt off the website this morning. I don't know what that means for them. And it's not just Target either. As if, making a nod to Bud Light's controversy and the question of whether anyone could outdo the public image debacle, Miller Lite appears to have said, "Hold my beer."
Here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their but the whole beer industry's
Well, that ad was released by Miller Lite in March of this year, but this did not protect it from controversy. Aside from being crude in terms of language and, demonizing the former use of, showing beautiful women in advertising campaigns, I'm sure someone forced women to wear bathing suits, right? The public also had a good laugh at the opening statement. If women were just among the first people who brewed beer, well then, who were the first? Now, although it may be unfortunate to some, there are still only two genders. And it's not just beer and clothes and so on. Even cars have gotten the woke treatment. People managed to dig up this Ford commercial from 11 months ago. It features what the car company calls its, quote, "very gay Raptor." Watch. Well, look, we're still waiting to see whether the backlash in these companies is going to be as serious as what Bud Light is facing. But there's a key factor to watch in all this, and well, it goes back to that famous line from the late conservative journalist Andrew Breitbart. Politics is downstream from culture. And the idea with that was this. If you want to change politics, you first need to change the culture. And it looks like corporate America's attempts to change the culture are backfiring. What does that tell you? Look, as an example, we can look into the line of, one of the country's really cultural factories, you could call it, the film industry. Filmmakers have begun distancing themselves from woke culture, and there's a reason for it. It's hitting the box offices. Some of that backlash against what people view as signs of woke culture are seen as detrimental to the image of films. Take for example the recent Netflix adaptation of Cleopatra. The company was accused of race swapping the ancient Egyptian queen, who notably was of Macedonian Greek ancestry mainly. Netflix turned her black, and people especially of Egyptian descent, they were very unhappy about this. It debuted as one of the worst audience scores in the history of television. The film started with a 1% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. 1%! And look, it's since then jumped to 3%. And even the professional critics seem to not like it very much. Right now it is a 14% rating from them. Disney's Bud Lightyear film previously was also slammed for featuring a homosexual kissing scene. The film was a box office failure, went against everything they expected. Amazon's $1 billion Rings of Power series, Lord of the Rings, likewise was criticized for pushing woke ideologies over the story and then also really not adhering to Tolkien's imagined world. It also failed spectacularly, so much so that it's damaging the entire company. Even video games aren't free from this. A video game from Square Enix, which cost an alleged $200 million from creation to marketing, also turned into a massive failure. And woke culture is again being called out as the cause. Look, of course we see where things are going from here, but it looks like the culture in America is in fact shifting. Companies are going against the tides of this culture. They're trying to push things people don't want. And because of this, they are breaking in the waves. And it's very possible that the culture shifts. Well, we'll see what this means downstream.